mic works. Hello and welcome to the first ever Soundrop Livestream, where we pull back the curtain on digital music distribution. How it works, what we do. We're going to drill down into the nitty-gritty details because we think that's what you want to hear about. You're smart. You deserve to be informed about this so you can make the best decisions for yourself and your music career. We get dozens of emails every day. People are asking us questions about what we're doing and how things work. And it's everything from general questions about the platform to just the mechanics of how it works to like literally anything, what their name should be, what they should use for track names. And, you know, we're replying to these emails every day, but only the email recipient is seeing our answers. And so we think this information is relevant to so many people. We're just going to come on here in real time, answer questions, and then everybody gets the benefit of this information. And then over time, as we get this thing established, we hope it turns into a real-time back and forth between us and you guys. So if you have any questions, put them in the little Twitch chat, and we'll get to as many as we can today. And then if you think of a question but you want to save it or ask later, just tweet it to us at Soundrop and use the hashtag SoundDroppin'. You know, so we're still kind of making sure we got everything hooked up right. This is our first ever stream, so eventually we'll have regular hours depending on what kind of demand there is for this kind of thing. Again, this is going to be in the weeds, talk about music distribution. It's not going to be pure entertainment, but we think you guys want information. You want details, you want to learn and understand. So in the future, we'll do other fun stuff like game streams and jam sessions and contests and who knows what. But for now, we're just going to grab a few questions and topics that have come across our desks recently, and we'll dig in. But first, introductions. I am Pony. I'm the brand manager. My job is just to make sure that everybody knows about Soundrop and loves Soundrop, and that getting us to that point doesn't cost us more money than we make, and make sure that Soundrop, that everybody who's working for Soundrop is working towards the same ends, and that we're aligned on everything from design to themes to messaging language and everything. So I'm working on marketing, social media, partnerships, long-term plans, business focus. And then beside me, I have a random metal guitarist that I picked up off the streets of Portland, Oregon. I'm just kidding. This is
almost true. Hey guys, I'm Rusty.
Trusty Rusty Powers.
Don't call me that.
Okay. He's the product ops support day to day. He's the one that actually knows how everything works, and he's the one that makes sure everything keeps working day after day. So, Rusty, do you have anything to add to that?
No, I think you covered all the bases.
Is Half-Life 3 out yet?
No.
All right, well, let's get started.
Yeah.
So, how music distribution works. Let's dive right in. It all starts with the content. That's you guys. You log into our site. You add your information about yourself as a user. You upload your releases, your tracks, your art, your audio, the metadata, your distribution settings and options. You get it saved. You get it locked down. Then it comes to us. It's submitted to us. The next thing that happens, it gets queued up and analyzed, and every single release that you guys submit to us, a human person takes a look and makes sure it's all going to work out. So every distributor does this differently, different levels of automation, or sometimes there's probably some distributors that don't check it at all, but we have a pretty stringent process because it's really important that we maintain good relationships with our partners, the DSPs, the music streaming and download platforms. So we have a pretty tight set of rules that we adhere to just because we're an open platform and anybody can get in there. So we are here to help everybody out. And in some cases, we'll actually kick that back to the artist to make changes. You know, it's something that we're always working on is refining that process of getting better at the that where there's something that we need you guys to change, and being able to communicate that and let you know what it is that needs to be changed, what your options are, and how flexible we can be on that. In terms of the approval process, Rusty, do you have anything to add to that?
No, I think so far so good.
Okay. So assuming that, we can go into that if you guys are interested in like what that whole approval process looks like, but for now, it gets approved, it's good to go. The next thing we will do is we will get it licensed if there are any cover songs. So that process involves basically sending the metadata and the assets, the audio and everything over to our licensing partner, who is Louder. Shout out.
Oh, here we go.
My dudes at Louder. They basically make sure the song can get licensed. They figure out who the publisher is, who the royalties need to go to. And then they send that information back to us and send the notices to the relevant publishers. And at that point, we get the signal back from Louder that that the cover songs were licensed, everything else is approved and good to go. At that point, we package up the content into XML files. Is that what it is?
Yeah,
Rusty?
That's correct.
And
so the assets and then the metadata, but they're all contained in one package that we send.
Right. And this is the part that's a black box to most people because it's just systems communicating with systems.
You click some buttons and it goes.
We click some buttons and it goes. And each service that we connect to, say Spotify, Apple, Pandora, whoever, each one of those services has their own method of ingesting that content.
And their own formatting, too. So the XML isn't going to look identical across all partners. Things will be laid out subtly different in subtly different ways. So the nice thing about how we format everything is we make sure that it goes correctly the first time to each partner that we deliver to.
Yeah. So good info? That is good info.
Good info.
Oh no.
Woo!
Yes. This is Daniel Bryan will come out and go yes every time Rusty has some good info.
And I will facepalm every time it comes out.
You just don't like how much you actually kind of look like Daniel Bryan.
It's uncanny, actually. It's undanny. Let's keep going.
Nobody calls Daniel Bryan Danny. Anyway, once we get everything packaged up and sent over to Spotify and everybody, they have some sort of ingestion process that, again, differs service by service. For instance, I think Deezer will just, as soon as it hits, they just throw it right up there. And then Pandora has this long curation process as they go through. It gets analyzed for genres and everything, which we can get into at some point. But eventually, within a day or so, for most of the services, they will actually take it live, and they will host your songs right on there. And then as people download and stream, they track all that stuff, and then they send us reports that trail by, I don't know, anywhere from a month to 3 months.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, anywhere from 1 to 4.
Service.
Yeah.
1 to 4?
Mm-hmm.
Who takes 4 months to report?
Let's see, Deezer and Amazon. Some Amazon streams can take 4 months. Yeah, how about that?
So they report all the activity to us, massive amounts of data that's like streams and fractions of pennies that we process, and we aggregate all that stuff together and figure out who needs to get the money. And then once a month, we compile all the reports and we split them up into individual statements for each account holder. And that's when you get the statement. And at that same point, we also issue a payment, or around that same point, within a day or two. If you guys want us to ever go into the payment process and more specifics on how that works, let us know. We'll talk more about it. We'll talk more about anything you guys want to hear about. All right, so the complicated thing about all this is getting it to scale, being able to manage stuff like this for hundreds and hundreds of releases a day, and tens of thousands of artists, hundreds of thousands of tracks, billions of rows of data that's getting reported to us, and at the same time, supporting everybody, making sure everybody's questions are answered and they know what they're doing, and preventing people from using the platform for fraudulent means. There's a lot that goes into it. So if there's anything that you guys want to hear about, once again, just put it in the chat or just tweet it to us, and we will talk about it. So that's how the music distribution process works. Now, we should get into some specific questions. Well, let's check the chat. Oh, wait a minute. Are you communicating with people on the chat here?
Oh yeah, we're having a party, dude.
All right. What are people asking anything?
Somebody asked if we could help their marriage. I said perhaps.
We can. What's the problem with the marriage?
I don't know. I asked if there were revenue splits involved.
If there are revenue splits involved, we absolutely can help your marriage.
Yeah. No, if they need a license request.
We can help with that too. Right?
Well, for cover songs, not for the marriage itself. All right, let's keep this thing moving.
Rusty. Okay. So one question that we got right within the last couple days, somebody was like, oh, this is what I want to hear about. It was good old Ro. You know who you are, dog. And he asked, how do I make sure my Nintendo cover is licensable?
Ooh.
Yeah, Rusty's looking at my notes here. Well,
yeah, I'm cheating. Okay,
so the first thing is that you can cover any song that has a U.S. sound-only official release, like a soundtrack. That makes it licensable by this law. And I'm going to put the...
Yeah, just post it.
All right. So, notice of intention to obtain a compulsory license. So basically, anything that's been released in the U.S., you guys can cover and create your own sound recording. It has to be complete original sound recordings. You can't use any element of the original recording, but you can play it note for note. So, you know, if just by virtue of the fact that it's been released, you can cover it. The hard part, though, is that not everything. It's hard to know if something has been released for sure. Like, yeah, you can find a CD, an American release of a CD on Amazon, or you can, you know, find it on iTunes. Rusty, what are some other ways that?
What's that video game music database?
Yeah, VGMDB.
Yeah. Oh, video game music database. Hot dog.
.org.
Mm.
.org.
Well, now I just don't understand.
Yeah. So that's helpful for a lot of people. But, you know, I've heard of people emailing Nintendo and asking for permission. They may or may not reply reliably to those emails. You can email us, and we will see what information we can find out for you.
Yeah, we can actually look and see what license requests have failed that are Nintendo related. We can actually see if the same composition has failed in the past.
Yeah.
In the recent past, in which case it's probably safe to say that it's not licensable at this moment.
Yeah, but it's possible that you try to release it, and this happened, we found this happened a lot with the Mario Odyssey tracks, where people were covering it as soon as the game came out and uploading to YouTube, and then trying to license the cover songs for commercial distribution through us. And the license requests wouldn't clear because they hadn't, even though the game was released, they hadn't released an actual soundtrack yet. And then they released some of the songs, so now those became licensable, and people who already had them signed up could resubmit them, and then they got through the second time. So you can always email us and ask, and we'll do our best to find out. In some cases, like I had an artist hit me up and ask if he could cover songs from Earthbound, and it turned out that, you know, Nintendo doesn't even still manage the publishing rights for the music from Earthbound.
Really? Who does?
Nobody knew. I even hit up Louder, and they were like, yeah, we just pay the royalty collection societies in Japan because presumably it's a Japanese composer.
And it's registered there.
Yeah. So it's unfortunately there's a lot of gray area and ambiguity. Ultimately, we're, you know, because there's no good way to know that something is not licensable, because there might have been a release that nobody can quite pinpoint. So ultimately, we're applying our expertise, our experience and knowledge anyway, along with the technology from our friends at Louder. And, you know, even though we don't have an absolute airtight, complete knowledge of everything that's ever been released, you know, we do know what we've seen taken down in the past. We have a good sense for what would probably be taken down, even if it's never happened. And those are where the upstream rejections come from, so it never even gets to the point of being distributed. There's lots of stuff that we've never identified a U.S. release, but we'll license the covers because, in our experience, the tracks go up fine. They've been covered plenty of times before. Nobody's issuing takedowns, or the publisher's not fighting it. So, and on the back end, we're making sure that you know, we're paying royalties to publishers as best as we possibly can in good faith. And if they, you know, make an agreement or become identifiable, then the royalties can go right to them because we're collecting all that stuff for you. So, you know, we're working with Louder. We're trying to get something more definitive. Either I was talking to Jesse, and we were talking about getting a definitive list from Nintendo that stays updated. Imagine how incredibly valuable something like that would be. So, I don't know, you know, what's okay, or at least a contact that we can reliably ask. So we're working on it. We're always working behind the scenes to try to provide a better service to you guys. So here, what's the worst thing that can possibly happen if something goes live and the publisher does not want it out there? So
there are a few things that they'll do. One, they'll either send a letter back to Louder saying, hey, this isn't actually licensable because we reserve the right to put it out first. Or they can take the more nefarious route, which is in their legal right, but they can send I like that word.
Oh, I see.
But they can send a DMCA takedown request to whichever partner. They typically send it like Spotify, and what that does is
what does DMCA stand for?
Digital Millennium Copyright Act. Digital Media Copyright Act.
Good info, Rusty. On the spot, even.
Hey. And so basically...
Florian's Googling that right now.
No, Florian actually just posted something that's...
Uh-oh, is he contradicting something I said?
No.
Did I say something wrong? Oh.
You said all the right things.
Oh, weird old game cover songs? Those are the best kind.
Yeah, my favorites.
I like toys. Jeez.
That's right.
It's not just any wrestling man. That's Daniel Bryan.
Oh my God.
The best wrestling man.
See? That's the best one.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anyway, yeah. So basically, any company that operates in the U.S. Will have to comply with a DMCA request.
Oh yeah, DMCA request. Oh, we went offline.
Yeah.
Did we go offline?
Is our mic still on? Still have a hot mic?
It's on.
We got some hot mics going. So anyway, I can continue speaking while we look like ghosts.
Forget this.
That is what are you drinking? A Zima?
No, it's a Soundrop brand cola.
Huh.
Sorry, I told you this is our first one. We're trying to figure out.
No, it's like I don't understand what it's.
Well,
the camera.
It's just the backdrop that's showing.
Yeah. Anyway, worst case scenario, if your cover song gets licensed first, and then it gets and then a takedown's issued
DMCA.
afterward. Yeah. All that happens is the partner, if it's Spotify or iTunes, they reach out to us and say, hey, this company has asserted rights to this song, and then we take down your release while you get it sorted out with the original publisher. That's basically it.
So it's actually not that bad.
No.
Is there ever a case of like anybody getting? Have you ever heard of anybody actually getting in legal trouble because their distributor accidentally clears their? No.
No.
That doesn't happen.
No. If you use unlicensed samples, then
yeah,
that can happen.
Don't use the original sound recordings in any way, shape, or form. And in some cases, people actually do have the rights to use. They've gotten into like licensing agreements with the original sound recording copyright holders, and can have licensed samples from the original sound recording. And you can do that if you just let us know. You just just email us and say, hey, some proof that you came to an agreement with the owner of the original sound recording to clear the samples.
Keep going.
Yeah.
All right. Apparently, the guy behind the camera has told me to keep going. He seems like he has a plan to make us reappear.
Joke's on us. He's leaving the building.
I know. He's just... The joke's on us. We've left the building, too.
Where are we?
Is what it looks like.
Yeah.
Okay, so I'm going to post in the chat thing here this link to a blog I found that covers why you can't cover a song before it's been released. Because it's a very gray area. It's confusing area, at least for like movie soundtracks and video game soundtracks. Oh, sorry about the commotion, guys.
The cavalry's here.
They're figuring out the camera thing.
Oh, there we are. And we're back.
And we're back. Oh.
Wait a minute. All right.
Sorry about that. That won't happen again. I'm sure that won't happen again. Anyway, it's called the right of first release. And basically, it's more for songwriters, so that you can't take somebody's song before it's ever been released and record a version of it and put it out there before the original publisher has had the right, has had the opportunity to do so. I posted that link in there. All right, so it's just confusing with video games. So, Rusty, did you have anything to add to the how do I know if my song is licensable?
I mean, really, at the end of the day, it just has to have been released in the U.S. That's a surefire way that it can be licensed.
Yeah.
So if you want to play it safe and you can't find a U.S. release, then...
You want to play it safe, can't find a U.S. release?
I would say skip it. If you are unsure if it's ever been released in the U.S., you can always reach out to our support, and we can touch base with Louder and see if they have precedence for it.
Hit us up.
Yeah.
Just hit us up if you're unsure. We'll help you out. That's what we're here for.
Yeah.
All right. Is that enough of that? Next topic?
Well, we did get a question.
We have a question.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm glad you're moderating.
The question is, if I cover a song by Prince on my dulcimer, can I upload it with you guys and not worry about him suing me? That is correct.
Yeah,
Does he sue everybody?
Well, I didn't want you to find out this way, but Prince is dead.
Right. But his estate is alive and well, and
they'll sue the living shit out of you. No, they won't. They won't.
No, they won't.
Because we'll get it taken care of. We'll get it licensed. Make sure that the publishing information is all sent over with your deliveries when we send it to the services, so that they can. If they're responsible for paying the royalties, they can do it, and if if you're responsible for paying the royalties, we take care of that out of the revenue automatically. So you're good.
What are the steps for cover song licensing? What do we need to do? If I'm putting out a dulcimer cover of a Prince song,
yep.
So I go in, I create an album for the track. Instead of setting it as an original, I set it as a cover song, and I put in all the information about the song that I'm covering, the original artist, who would be Prince. Maybe a link to a YouTube video.
If it's more obscure, I think.
Yeah.
If you're doing Raspberry Beret, you could probably just say Raspberry Beret Prince, and we'll figure it out.
What song is that?
We'll take it from there.
It sounds tasty.
It was from before you were born.
Everything was.
I was way born.
Dude, you were so born.
I was so born right then.
You were Jason Bourne.
Okay.
All right.
Next. Oh wait.
It costs $9.99 per composition.
Per composition. So that means if I'm doing a medley
of Prince songs
with 5 different Prince songs, then it will be $10 for each one of those songs.
Or $49.95 for the 5.
$9.99, because business always makes something 99, so it seems like it's less than it actually is.
That's right. But yeah, so that helps us set up the administrative work of pulling out the mechanical royalties every month for you and paying whoever owns the rights to Prince's songs. So you're in the clear, they get paid, everybody's happy, and this license is good for as long as the song is actually up.
Through us.
Through us.
So that's something to keep in mind if you decide to take it down from your Soundrop distribution and move it over to some other crappy distributor like Distributor, then you'll have to start over and get it licensed again and pay them exorbitant fees.
Yeah.
Exorbitant.
Nice.
Trusty Rusty. All right.
All right. What's next?
Did we cover the right of first release?
I believe we touched on it.
But I put the thing in there.
You put on the Nashville link?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I guess it's this Nashville blog had it kind of like stated the best that I could find because it's super relevant to Nashville songwriters and country music kind of cover artists and stuff. So yeah. New topic.
Let's keep cruising.
Do we have any other questions?
No, so
it's
far
sad
so
that
good.
Prince died, but I still love.
Yeah.
Yeah, we love.
That.
Everybody loves Prince. I'm surprised. I wonder if Florian's got any metal Prince covers. I'll look that up.
I feel like there's a band called Metal Prince. If there isn't, Florian, let's start it. Think about it.
It's not like Steely Dan.
Please no.
You don't like Steely Dan?
No, not at all. We'll talk about this later. First of all, they don't have any blast beats. Second, nobody wears corpse paint. I have very specific criteria.
You haven't seen every Steely Dan video.
No.
There might be a Steely Dan in corpse paint video somewhere. Anyway, takedown requests. You wanted to talk about takedown requests. This is a subject that's really near and dear to Rusty's heart for some reason, even though it's really boring to everybody else.
So we get requests from our artists to have their content removed from all partners. The reasons why...
Is it always all?
Well, most of the time. I'd say 99% of the time it's all partners.
Nobody's ever just like, fuck Deezer.
Well, sometimes. Some people are like
that's a weird thing to do.
Like, Google's not paying me. I'm done with them.
Oh,
and then, like, you close the door to actually earning anything from Google after that. Doesn't make any sense.
It doesn't
I don't
make
like
any
it.
sense.
But when you submit a takedown request for all partners, it can take up to 30 days for all of your content to be removed. And if you're hoping to just fix something and then resubmit everything under a new release, oftentimes you can just have it fixed without doing the takedown and then creating a duplicate copy in your account.
Right, because that's the thing that we get all the time is people are like, oh, take this down. I spelled a track name wrong or something.
Or my artwork, just could be a little bit better.
Right. So it's not as much a case of like having to take it down to make changes and then submit a new copy. It's about knowing what stuff can and can't be changed, and making a wise decision that way. Because you might not have to actually take it down. So not everything can be updated, right? There's some stuff that can't be updated after it's gone live at Spotify.
Correct. So the obvious ones are UPCs and ISRCs. Because those are locked in to the release itself, and the audio itself. Similarly, we can't add or remove tracks from an album. So if you forgot to put on a bonus track, or somehow you just forgot track 2 by Blur, then you would have to issue the takedown, recreate the album with all of the songs that you want, and then put it back up.
That's to change the track order.
To change the track order, to add tracks or remove tracks.
Okay. I count that as changing the track order.
Yeah. So those are things that you absolutely have to have your content taken down for. There is another thing as well, and this is relatively new. If you're changing your artist name, if you're rebranding, we unfortunately can't send updates with new artist names.
Good info.
Without updating the audio as well. So you would have to remaster your tracks.
Wait a minute.
Yeah.
Let's
talk about it.
And go that part again. If I'm changing, I'm putting it. I decided I don't want to call myself Pony and the Rusties anymore. Now we're going to be Rusty and the Ponies because that makes more sense.
All of the sense.
It makes all the sense. So I just want to sell my original album that was already distributed, but now I just want to change. I just want to do it under a new name. There's a new rule.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, basically the idea is that in securing licensing and publishing and all of that sort of stuff, and submitting content, if you have new names, new artist names, and you're sending the same audio again, then you're going to have duplicate audio in those different stores. So like iTunes is going to have 2 iterations of the same track.
Oh,
and Spotify's going to have 2 iterations of the same track. Yeah, it messes things up.
So, this is... I want to come back to that. Like, how stores feel about all this stuff. They have feelings.
They do.
And they have...
Corporations are people, my friend.
That's true. But let's think about Spotify's feelings here. You know, they're offering a storefront, essentially, and every track that is in their store is a product that they're selling. And they think of it that way, and we are... beholden to them to think of it that way as well. And so we are the distributor that they're receiving content from, and they want to, and it's important to them that we're sending them retail ready content. So I've used this analogy before, and Rusty hates it.
Oh lordy, let's do it.
The blue peanut butter.
Ah, son of a.
The blue peanut butter. Okay. So this is what I compare it to. Wait, let's come back to the blue peanut butter. Let's tie out the takedowns thing.
One other thing that I'll mention, too, about duplicate audio is that it is, by not having multiple iterations of the same audio, it ensures that the stores that we send to, that they can very easily ID content as well, like where the money should be going.
Yeah, and I think that stores, ever since YouTube, I'll bet you that... Apple and Spotify and all the big ones, the big players probably are developing their own, if they don't already have it, some kind of audio recognition, identification, content management stuff that I don't think they're probably not applying. Well, they must be applying it because they know when they get the same audio track from Rusty and the Ponies versus Pony and the Rusties, or the other way, but... So they're figuring it out somehow. So that sucks, though.
Yeah.
All right. Let's talk about blue peanut butter.
Let's just get it over with.
Okay. So if you are a peanut butter manufacturer and you want your peanut butter to be sold at Whole Foods or Fred Meyer or Safeway, you have to get it to them via a distributor. And so your music works the same way as if you were a peanut butter manufacturer, only instead of Safeway, it's Spotify. And instead of, I don't know any food distributor. Do you know a food distributor?
Whole Foods?
No, a distributor.
Charlie's Produce.
Oh, that's a nice local one there.
Yeah.
You know, I lost my train of thought there. Charlie's Produce is a thing. Anyway, the point is, like, there's a distributor that is representing all these products. So in the case of the peanut butter manufacturer, you can say, yeah, I have peanut butter for sale, but it's in this box that says Tide, and it tastes like fruit, and it comes in a 15-gallon drum, and it's blue, and that's my peanut butter, man. You know, that's one thing that we get often, and I get it because, you know, we're musicians as well, so people are like, you know, we're like, you can't distribute it that way. And they'll say, but this is my art. This is the way I do it. And the fact is that Whole Foods doesn't want to sell peanut butter if it's blue, it tastes like fruit, it comes in a 15-gallon drum that says Tide. They're going to tell their distributor, we're not going to take that, we're not going to sell that peanut butter. And, you know, when it comes down to it, music is a product that is in a distribution network, just like the peanut butter at the grocery store. So in order for us, if the distributor keeps sending Whole Foods gallons of blue fruit-flavored peanut butter that says Tide, eventually that grocery store is going to say, we're going to find a different distributor, and then they're going to just go with them, and so that can't happen to us. So we always, that's why it seems like we're being really picky sometimes about, pushing back on these releases, and I'll change this, and, the standard, the casing, and you can't distribute 20 seconds of coughing. Whoever that was on Twitter, I'm sorry. The fact is that we do appreciate good art, and we did appreciate the 20 seconds of coughing, but it's just that we can't, right? We can't distribute that, right?
Right. Okay.
If Rusty says right, then it's right. So think about it that way. You're giving us a retail-ready product. You need to give us a retail-ready product that we can tell stores, go ahead and sell this in your storefront. And so, be patient with us if we make small changes, because sometimes all we have to do is add from Game of Thrones into your track title, and that'll get it through just fine, and we might just go ahead and do that. So don't get mad. We're just trying to make sure that all your stuff stays up, stays active in distribution, is easily searchable, easily findable, is working well for the music platforms, and there's some conversation going on in here.
Oh yeah.
I want to know. I can do it here. What are we talking about here? Joni. Hi, Oh, Biff. What up, Biff? Oh, that was like a flirtatious little emoji there, Biff.
Hey, Lord Biff, how are you?
Yeah. Do we have a question in the chat here?
We had a few. I've been fielding some things.
Anything we should keep in mind when we choose artist names so we don't end up on the wrong profile? Well, before choosing an artist name, are you just answering the questions right in the chat?
Yeah.
Well, wait a minute. But we have a camera.
Yeah, but we have so many questions.
We have a tiny Godzilla.
You have this thing that I still don't even know what it's called.
This is Squidge the Boglin. These are ancient toys from when I was a child. Artifacts, yeah. Our camera guy, Tony, had the exact same. Our producer, Tony. You're more than just a camera guy, Tony.
Yeah.
All right. A Biff emoji?
It's a beautiful day.
It is a beautiful day. Sorry, I can't do the controversial name like Allah is gay. Can that prevent me from releasing my music? Maybe. So we do. Okay. So here's the thing. We have. I'm addressing this. Can I use a controversial name? So we have guidelines. What are some of these guidelines? We don't take.
I happen to have posted them right here. Let's talk about it. Guidelines include, but are not limited to, and we reserve the right to refuse your content for any reason.
Can we do that?
Yeah. Yeah, we can. Editorial discretion. Not to say that we will, but we can.
We don't want to. We
never want to.
We hate turning away.
Yeah.
Even 20 seconds of coughing. We even.
What if it were 20 seconds of soul coughing?
That we would probably
turn away.
That's quickly. Probably not the actual soul coughing, but
yeah, hate speech, abusive content,
gore, it's stuff with like Cannibal Corpse type stuff. We just can't do anymore. It's just it crosses too many lines, and we have a team of people here that have to look at every release, and they have to feel good about putting their stamp on it and saying yes, send this to iTunes, Spotify, and whatever.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and you can be brutal. You can be cerebral and brutal.
Yeah. Put a little thought into it. About the controversial name, like, okay, so this is like a really specific question. A controversial name like Allah is gay. So what guideline would that violate?
I mean, you could put it under abusive content, or you could put it under hate speech if you felt so inclined to do so.
Why is that hateful?
Well, I imagine that people of the Muslim religion would find it very offensive.
But is offensive the same thing as hateful?
Yeah, that's a good question.
I think things could be, you know, I don't know. I don't know if we would. I think we
pass
could.
That one.
I think we could pass it. It would be gross. And sometimes we're just like, no, this is gross. Like, I think if it's anything that seems to be created with the intention to offend without making a higher point is probably something that we would decline to distribute. The good news is that there are other distributors out there with like little green monster icons that would totally distribute All Is Gay for you. Okay, let's move on. Ro!
What is up?
I answered your question earlier. I don't know if you caught it. All right, we've done blue peanut butter. We've done takedowns. Are there other questions? If all is gay is hate speech, that's offensive. Yeah, see. Yeah, again, I think anything that we didn't think was like a viable artistic statement, yeah, we have to be able to vouch for it at the end of the day. So there might be some stuff that we censor just so we can keep doing business. And but again, we're not looking for opportunities to do that. We don't want to do that. We want to distribute all the music.
That we can.
We want to distribute. We want to buy every single distributor out there and distribute all their music. But can you just do over 30 seconds of coughing? I'm serious now.
Over 30 seconds of coughing? I suppose you could. I don't know why you would want to, but yeah, you probably could. Sure.
Just tack on 10 seconds, double the track, just Mr.
Make it a 10-minute coughing fit. You know,
we could definitely
smoke some menthols. Just do it.
Don't smoke menthols.
Well, I thought if you wanted to cough. Oh, sorry, cloves. The what are those black dejarums?
Jarums.
Yeah, let's party.
All right. Takedown request. Artist separation. Oh wait, I wanted to. This is an important point. So somebody asked. I saw in there. Somebody asked in there if there's anything they could do to avoid accidentally ending up on some other artist's profile. So number one, I would say search for the artist name that you're going to use, and if it's already in use, pick something different. And I would say it's probably not enough to just put music or covers on the end of the name that's already taken. So if Pony and the Rusties is already a band on Soundrop, on Spotify, I don't think you would want to go and use Pony and the Rusties music as your artist name. Come up with something original. Always come up with something original if you can, Joni. Sorry, I don't know who actually asked that question. I'm getting distracted by the first release rule.
Well, let's go back to Rose's question about the weirdest track that got passed, because that's a great question to ask.
Oh, was it?
And I don't think we should use artist names, but we can describe what they were about. Although you already blew it.
Nobody heard that.
She blew it. Her flute, that is. So, yeah, there was somebody who was advertising their sex hotline, and then doing like classical flute solos.
I don't think they were classical.
I don't know.
They were very they were jazz flute.
They were pretty avant-garde.
But
way ahead of their time. So that was what was the weirdest that got passed, because we were letting.
Wait! It wasn't just jazz flute solos. It was jazz flute solos with like hardcore sex sounds going underneath,
and the advertisement of her 1-800 number.
Yeah, was it an 800 number?
I don't know. Did you call it?
I would have if it was an 800 number, but it was probably a 900 number.
No.
Do they still have those?
I don't know.
But they probably could have gotten away with it if it hadn't been for
the sheer volume.
For the advertisement. You can't put advertisements in your music or on your cover. You can't. It's not an advertisement. It is the product. But also, she uploaded like 10 albums a day of like 10 or 20 tracks of all just jazz flute solos and sex sounds. Girl, I don't know what you're trying to do out there. I don't know why the one album wasn't enough.
Yeah.
but apparently it wasn't, because, you know, that's what we deal with when we have this open, free platform, basically. That's why we have to apply the very strict rule set, and so some legitimate artists have to jump through an extra hoop. That's how we keep it free, keep it open, keep it affordable for everybody.
Yeah, and once our partners start to hide your content too, then we have to take a really hard look, because we're not fulfilling our end of the agreement either.
Sorry, I got distracted by Joni's comment there. She wants to come spend some time with me. I'm happily married, but you can come. We can play with action figures all day. I've got plenty more where this came from. Okay. So wait a minute. Did we tie out the last?
I believe so.
Topic? Oh no. The artist name thing. So how do you... Okay, so say that you've done everything that you can possibly do to make sure that your artist name that you're going to use isn't taken, and then you get your thing set up, and then somebody else sneaks in and they get it, and then when your album gets on Spotify, all of a sudden it ends up on that artist's page, their profile. There's a thing that we can do about this, right, Rusty?
Yeah.
And internally, we call it, I hate this term.
Let's do it.
But I think it's like this in our little like FAQ help center thing anyway. So it's called artist separations.
That's right.
I'll let you take it from here.
Well, so
Rusty,
that's when you separate your releases
so
from an
weird.
artist page and move them to either an artist page that you've already claimed, or a new one entirely, or if you have a claimed artist page and you want somebody else's content that erroneously got placed there to be moved. So we can do this for iTunes, for Apple Music, for Spotify. For Google, we have an email address for Google's ops team, which is googlemusicops@gmail.com. If you're on the wrong store page there.
Wait, we tell them to just email Google?
Yeah. Put the power in your hands. Let's do it.
It seems like something we could do for them, right?
Potentially.
Yeah, you guys are all DIY.
That's right.
Mofos.
You're all pros. You know what to do.
You can email Google if you want. You can call them. Is Google there?
Yeah.
Snail mail.
Yeah, send them a letter.
Carrier pigeon.
They might actually think that's cute and answer it. Like, oh, they want it. It's another artist separation. That name is so weird. Artist separation. All right.
10 minutes. We're at 10 minutes.
We're at 10 minutes. All right,
Ooh.
guys. We're going to go for a little while longer here. Is there anything else that we wanted to mention about artist separations, Rusty?
Let's see. One, if you want to ensure that your releases go to the right place, it's always a good idea to claim your artist profiles. For Spotify, you can do that at artists.spotify.com.
I'll put that. I'll do that.
Yeah, just put the link there.
Artists.spotify.com.
Yeah, and then for iTunes and Apple Music, there's like an Apple Music Artists beta that you can get set up with. I don't remember the URL off the top of my head, but if you search for Apple Music Artist something.
Artist Connect.
Apple Music for Artists, of course. Artists.apple.com. Beautiful. And so...
What happens to this whole chat thing after we go off? After we close this thing? This just goes away, huh?
We just get twitched? Yeah. It's always...
Oh my god. Alright, should we address this? The effing Soundrop playlists on Spotify. We are working on it. We can't do anything about it because that a different company owns that, and they're super valuable, well-followed playlists that are named Soundrop, and they can't change it without losing the whole deal. So they don't want to change it, which I don't blame them for, but it's really confusing because it basically constantly we have people asking if they can be on our Spotify playlists, which we don't have because there's already a Soundrop. We're working on it. Well, I guarantee the minute I can change something about that, it'll be the only thing I talk about. I won't even have... I'll just, like, do a live stream all by myself with just me and my giant Daniel Bryan figure, and I will say, we now can actually have our own Spotify playlists. But until that time, I'll just count on Florian to just keep letting everybody on Twitter know that that's not us. I think he gets a little bit of joy out of it.
Yeah.
I think he does. I think he has like a little custom tapping lick that he does every time.
I hope so.
He tweets to somebody like, they don't own those. But it's our fault. I don't know why we can't get that together. It's hard for some reason. Okay. So, are there any other questions?
Subversive Asset asked a question. He said, I also don't know if I missed it, but I'd actually like to hear more about the day-to-day tasks in Soundrop's process for licensing. What's typically the most time-consuming tasks?
Well, the most time-consuming thing is when somebody uploads a track that Louder doesn't necessarily have
a clear path,
a clear path, a quick way to just send the notification and know what, you know, they have like preset agreements with publishers, and they have like huge database of what songs go to who, but sometimes there's obscure ones, and it just takes them, they just can't track it down, and they don't have a precedent for having licensed it before. And so they just will notify the U.S. Copyright Office?
Yeah, so there are two different ways that they clear licenses. If they have a clear path, they do a digital notice of intent, and that some can clear it within hours. So if it's like a really popular, like if you're covering Despacito, it's probably already licensed before you finish recording the thing. With more obscure songs, if they don't have that clear path, then they will file a physical notice of intent with the U.S. Copyright Office, and they do that every other week. So if you are submitting a track at the end of the week, and it's something that requires a physical filing with the U.S. Copyright Office, it can take up to 2 weeks.
I think they sometimes will even miss that first physical filing because they're trying to do it the fast way, and then it turns out that they do have to do a physical filing, so you have to wait for the next one.
Right. Yeah, so they'll always try digital first if they have any sort of contact information.
Yeah. And those guys are,
real human beings.
They are real human beings that are now part of the Spotify family. So they are some busy profesh peeps over there. We love them.
Yeah.
Shout out, my folks. All right. I'm on a platform here with a pretty big audience, and as a lot of you guys know, I'm actually a little bit of a wrestling fan. Do you think anybody knows that?
Besides Florian? Yeah, everybody knows that.
I love wrestling. So I'm about to do what every wrestling fan loves to do, which is talk about wrestling on the internet. So because this live stream is not supposed to have anything to do with wrestling, I'm going to have Rusty time me. Do you have a...
I have a timer. Yeah, sure.
All right. Give me 2 minutes to talk about a wrestling thing.
All right.
And then just cut me the F off at 2.
Oh, you're getting cut. I can't wait.
All right. I'm just going to go right into it then. What I wanted to talk about is how exciting the Shayna Baszler scene, the women's title scene is on NXT right now. So Shayna Baszler is the NXT champ, and she's got like a UFC background, and she's basically booked like the kind of like female Brock Lesnar. And so they did this awesome angle last week where Shayna beat Dakota Kai pretty decisively, and then she like kept beating her down, and then that brought out Nikki Cross, who is this other NXT women's wrestler, and it was just really exciting because it seemed like it was setting up a Shayna Baszler-Nikki Cross feud. Now, the reason that's exciting is because neither one of those wrestlers look like a She-Ra figure. Like, pretty much all the other women wrestlers in WWE, even though they've done a much better job of presenting women's wrestling in the last couple of years, they still all kind of like conform to these traditional beauty standards and look like She-Ra figures. But Nikki Cross and Shayna Baszler, neither one of them do. And so the audience is like super invested in both of these characters just based on the fact that they're awesome wrestlers and exciting characters, and they're not pretty in this traditional sense that WWE in particular seems to kind of emphasize. So that's just a really exciting thing to me because I love NXT, I love women's wrestling, and I think it's a big but kind of overlooked step for the WWE. So let's see if any of that kind of thing can make its way to the main roster. Did I make it under 2 minutes?
You got 27 seconds left.
I'm not even going to take it. All right, guys, we are going to sign off for now, but I want to make sure that you know our hashtag for asking us questions. It's Soundroppin'. Wait.
It's hashtag Soundroppin'.
Hashtag Soundroppin'.
Follow on Twitch.
Yes, follow us on Twitch. Follow us on Twitter. And
tell your friends.
Tell your friends. All right, Tony. It's enough of that. Yeah, but do tell your friends. Tell your friends to distribute their music through Soundrop because we're cool, we're having fun, and we're here working for you, and it's really important that your music gets out there and that it's available and findable and that people are listening to it. So you're making money, and the more music you're releasing, the more you'll make. And let us know what you want to hear about. Do you want to hear about how we manage the whole monthly payout process? Do you want to know more about the relationships between Soundrop and CD Baby and Spotify and Louder and how all that kind of thing works? Do you want to hear more about the album approval process? I think Subversive Asset said he wanted to hear about more like the day-to-day stuff. So we're happy to talk about any of that. You want to hear our origin stories? You want to know more about me and Rusty, or Rusty and I personally? Do you want to know more about my thoughts on wrestling? Do tips, tricks, whatever else, use that hashtag Soundroppin', and then follow us on Twitter and Twitch and Instagram. We're gonna do the Instagram thing,
dude,
right?
We're gramming so hard right now.
I am. I'm gonna gram as soon as that camera shuts off. As in Gramus. Can that camera actually pick up what this is? You think? Any other questions before we go off the air here? I'd love to know day to day, coming from a programming background, what tools get used. Oh.
We'll have to save that one for next time. That's
Oh man, way next time.
Yeah.
Royalties with video game songs being covered different from normal cover songs. It's not, right?
Yeah, it's all the same.
Royalties are royalties. If there's a copyright holder, the publisher, the royalties go to them.
The only time that royalties are different is it's determined by the length of the song. So if it's under 5 minutes and some change, then it's the regular mechanical license rate, which is 9.1 cents.
Per download. That's for downloads.
Per US download. And then it goes up a little bit the longer the song is.
Oh yeah, but I think Joni is asking, is there a difference in terms of royalty payments between video game songs versus like regular pop songs or something?
Mm-hmm.
There isn't a difference, is there?
No, there isn't.
Okay, so do both. All right, guys, it's time to go. We love you.
It's been real. We'll see you next time.